I'd like to call the meeting to order. A joint meeting of D.P.W Subcommittee and Town Council, Wednesday, January 8th, 2025, 6 p.m., Veterans Meeting Room. Roll call. Chair Shenya here. Councilor John Jovan. John Daniels.
Present.
Jasmine Rivas, absent. Subcommittee member Steve Lazo, excused. Subcommittee member William Cody, absent. And Councilor Chair Lazo stepping in for make a quorum. All right. Number 3, review and discuss a transfer request of $4,000 from account number 610-450-583-000-91250 Water Reserve Fund to account number 610-450-574-000 Water Insurance. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Town Council.
So moved. Second.
Thank you.
Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The two agenda items here are for the insurance for water and sewer. When we did our insurance estimate, when we set up the budgets, we didn't have a clear-cut number at that time. We did an estimate. The insurances came in a little bit higher, so we're looking to transfer so that we can have an adequate funds for that.
All right. Any discussion? See none, all in favor? Opposed, none? Number 4, review and discuss transfer request of $16,000 from account number 600-440-583-000-89500 Sewer Reserve Fund to account number 600-440-574-100 Sewer Insurance. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Town Council.
So moved. Second.
Okay, the Town Manager just explained it, so any more discussion on that? Yep.
Again, those would be through the enterprise funds, not general funds, just so you know,
Okay.
for the record, okay?
Any further, all those in favor? Opposed, none? Review and discuss job descriptions for the new position of Department of Public Works Mechanic 74 lead. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Town Council. Town Manager.
The next 3 items we had previously brought up to the town, were on a previous agenda. We withdrew them at that time because the union had some questions about whether they had to impact bargain or do any bargaining. We had a conversation with our legal counsel. Our legal counsel informed us that we should, while we don't have to, we should send them to them if they have any questions or comments, give them a date. We had given them until January 6th to respond. We have not received any input, nor had spoken to Mr. Trahan with some of the changes. This lead mechanic was part of the contract that we had discussed previously.
So you see no problem with the union?
Nope. No, they should, because we gave them notice, we gave them a date, they didn't give us any indication that they were opposed to it.
Rich, set?
I'll just mirror that. I haven't heard anything from the staff or the union.
All right.
I'll just note that this job description reflects the job description of the mechanic and adds the additional responsibilities to create the lead position.
Okay, any input from the committee? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, none? Review and discuss changes to the existing job description for the position of Department of Public Works Mechanic 74. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Town Council.
So moved. Second.
Town Manager.
In your packets, I did include the previous job description that had the red lines. The red lines are the only changes that were made to those to this job description. As you can see, it was a very minor change per the recommendation of the DPW director. All we did was take out the salary range, and all we added was 3 to 5 years of experience for the actual mechanic. 3 was the minimum. We just said 3 to 5. So that's all.
Town Manager.
And I think that was because we have the lead mechanic.
I know you want to be, but.
I know, yeah, I know.
What? Did you want to talk?
No, I said Town Manager. I meant to say
no,
DPW Director.
As you can see, the lead mechanic has 5 or more years. So this gave the 3 to 5 years to be the mechanic. So it's 5 years to be a lead, 3 to 5 to be a mechanic, and then you'll see in the next one.
And these are all union positions?
These are all union positions.
Rich, nothing? Discussion?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be difficult to have people working for us that are able to, work on such a wide variety of, machinery? You know, not just DPW, but you're talking fire equipment and police equipment and.
So at the moment, that is the job. That's the job that the three individuals that we have are currently doing.
Mhm.
Just recently, the deputy fire chief has reached out, and one of our mechanics is going to be going to a training for maintenance of fire and emergency
There you
equipment,
go.
and then he'll have the ability to take a test and get certified.
Perfect.
Anything else? See
It
you
really is a goal to build up the maintenance, the mechanic department. So, you know, at some point, we'll probably have a mechanic at the police department retire. Hopefully he stays for a while because he's very good, but at that point, we may say, okay, do we have a fleet maintenance program and mechanics program?
Okay, any further discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Number 7, review and discuss changes to the existing job description for the position of Department of Public Works Assistant Mechanic. Number 73, entertain a motion to recommend approval to the town council.
So moved. Second.
Discussion, town manager?
Again, the changes are highlighted. The only changes here were that instead of being under the assistant mechanic, under the direction, supervision of the D.P.W mechanic, that is consistent with the other ones, is under the D.P.W operations manager. And then eliminate the salary, and then experiences, we just added 1 to 3 years.
So by taking it away from the mechanic into operations manager, does that make it easier?
So, as far as the union is concerned, and as far as we're concerned as the supervisors, you cannot have a union employee report to another union employee, unless that person is like holds some sort of administrative role. The lead mechanic in what is now just, you know, that position is currently just mechanic. So we had 2 mechanics and an assistant mechanic. So now we're going to have a lead mechanic, just a straight mechanic, and then assistant mechanic. We want those, all those members of the staff to report to one supervisor.
Okay.
So this aligns with the rest of our program that everybody else on the floor reports to Pete and then myself.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? None. Number 8, review and discuss the transfer of $887.50 from project number 68100 DPU rideshare surcharge 2023 municipal disbursements TNC per ride assessment to account number 001499553300 D.P.W road materials. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council for approval.
So moved. Second.
Town manager?
Yeah, thank you. This is an annual fund that we get money from. This is on rideshare, so like the Ubers and the rideshare companies, based on your amount of mileage that you have, they give you a proportionate assessment. It goes into a special revenue account. The law did change this past fiscal year where we could have kept the money in the special revenue account because it's under $25,000 and just let it accumulate. But from an accounting perspective, we'd rather just transfer it out, let them buy some road materials, and then, because otherwise that account's just gonna get forgotten somewhere. So this is, we just transfer it out. We do an annual report saying, yes, we use the money to buy materials for potholes or whatever for the road. So it's a small amount of money that we transfer yearly.
Any other discussions or concerns? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, none? Review and discuss repurpose, renaming water capital project water main improvement Gardner High and Worcester Streets, account number 64899 to water capital projects water main improvements River Crane Streets, number 64899. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council for approval.
So moved. Second.
Town manager?
Thank you. So this was an appropriation that was made out of the water stabilization account on May 24th, 2021 at town council agenda item 24. At the time, the thought process was to do water main improvements in the Gardner High and Worcester Street areas. We do have the River Crane Street project that we have. And then speaking with Steve Gregoire from the Water Department and Rich, when we were doing the budgeting last year, and looking for funds for this, whether we actually take money from the current water stabilization, that project would be some time off, so rather than take money we have now, we kept that money in the water stabilization, and they're not planning on doing this project for some time, so therefore we would just repurpose it, use the money that was already budgeted for a specific purpose, and just repurpose it for that for the River Crane project that we have under bid, that will be starting, maybe starting now with some sewer relining and gas lines, and then full construction this summer.
I just got one question, High Street, wasn't that a concern, High Street water main, because of the major break they had that almost took out Maureen's home over the last year, near the res? They had
That was a few years ago.
oh, okay,
That was, that situation, as far as I'm aware, is before my time here,
Right.
but I'm under the assumption or the understanding that that situation was resolved. The line no longer runs underneath the house.
They capped it, didn't they?
Yeah,
capped
they
it,
did
didn't they?
cap it. There is some work that's gonna have to be done, you know, there at some point in time, but we're just not ready for it. And as the town manager stated, we're really kinda working hard to try to clean up some of the accounts and keep things kinda clean. So if we're not doing the work right now, we don't wanna put money in an account and have it sit there. There's enough of that that's already out there that we're really trying to get through, so trying to utilize some of the funds that are on hand without creating more mess.
okay.
Yeah, because the option would be just let this money sit and take another $500,000 from either the stabilization or borrow, which, if we're not ready to do this work, it's not in the pipeline, it's not ready, then let's use that money now, and plan, for the future using other available funds.
Are we gonna have the amount of the money on the agenda item on Monday night? Does
No,
it need
because
to
it's
be
just a repurpose.
repurposed? Okay,
All I'm doing is repurpose and rename it, there's no transfer, there's no dollar
Okay.
amount, it's just we're repurposing and renaming that specific account.
all right, any
So
other
the number
questions?
stays the same.
Number stays the same.
Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, none. Review and discuss awarding the SCADA import-output upgrades contract for electrical materials and labor project water department to AMP Electric in the amount of $149,786 to be paid for water capital project number 64886, SCADA IO upgrade. Authorized town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the town council.
Don't move. Second.
Town manager.
So we only had one responsive bid that came in. It's within the budget that we allocated. It's been reviewed by Ms. Gregoire, D.P.W. We recommend awarding this contract for this work.
DPW.
This was the SCADA upgrade that's been discussed multiple times for over the last year and a half, so we're at the point now where we're awarding, and this was the only bidder, and everything seemed to have come together correctly, so.
All right. Any discussion from anybody? All those in favor? Opposed, none? Review and discuss DPW operations and staffing. We'll start with town manager.
Thank you. So this is really was gonna be not a really in-depth, but just a quick overview of where we're at right now with the DPW and some of the thought process of what we were gonna be working on in the immediate and then for the long term. So as you're aware, we've had the deputy director's position, either deputy director engineer, town engineer's position, posted numerous times. With the job description, we still believe that a deputy director is needed for the Department of Public Works. And we're gonna refine and make sure that that job description adequately reflects what the duties we want that position to be. As you're aware, Hannah, or may not be aware, Hannah, who is our executive operations, right, is that what we call it? Executive operations officer, who's been really a key component to assist Rich in the last year, has tendered her resignation to leave to go to the private sector to work for a company So we have taken a look at that position. That originally was an interim position to assist Rich with a lot of the paperwork, filing, MS4, things of that nature, and she really has filled a key part of that role. Unfortunately, you know, Rich was on vacation, which was a well-deserved vacation over the last week and a half. And my HR is actually out of the office because she's ill this week. So we haven't had a full opportunity to really review some of the job descriptions that they have been working on for this position. But the model that we're looking at is the DPW director has an awful lot of hats to wear and a lot of functions, and we do realize that you never want to be so top-heavy, but there is no top-heavy, there's just Rich. So we really have to support in the short term and then develop what the long term, and when I say develop, we're not talking we're gonna take 6 months to study this. This is immediate, get job descriptions going, get job postings and the like. So we've talked about possibility of, I had reached out to a private consulting company, Capital Strategic Solutions. They provide some individuals that can provide support to the town, 2 towns. They have retired individuals. I'm gonna set up an interview with Rich, which would be part of the interview process to see what capabilities they may be able to provide, maybe on a 1 or 2 day basis to help with some projects that we have going. Because we have a lot of projects, we've talked about them. We have the rail trail, River Crane, East Main Street, the TIP projects, we have the Mill Street coming, and just, the news is embargoed right at the moment, so, but this won't go out. But the town councils, please be at the town hall on Monday at 10 a.m. if you could possibly make it. Congressman Neal will be here to announce that we received a raise grant in the amount of $7.8 million. So that was a grant done by PEG with assistance of Rich and others, a very competitive grant that we've been up for many times. So when we talk about a lot of projects, we have $25 million worth of just road infrastructure projects that we have. That's gonna take a lot of work. So we've talked about the possibility, or not the possibility, but the development of a program manager, project manager, I'm sorry, that would do project-specific things, the oversight of these projects on specific, you know, checking in on engineers, checking in on the paperwork, possibly development of Chapter 90 and things like that. The other projects that we have going on that we have to do on a day-to-day basis, trying to get the community center project completed. We have the town hall study going on. We have different things. So somebody that really could be on the ground to assist Rich as the go-between, where you have the operations manager handling the day-to-day operations, project manager helping with the projects, and then hiring a deputy director to be the second in command. Also, there is a need for another probably administrative assistant in that office. If you review back into the budget that was here before I got here, there was an admin assistant position in that budget, but was eliminated by Mr. Blanchard and the town council. So we probably would want to look at reestablishing that for the accounts payable, so that his executive assistant can actually be the executive assistant to do the higher level things that need to be done. So these are all the projects that we're looking at, the model that we're seeing. We bandied about what the duties of the director would be, take on more of the water sewer things, how that's gonna work. So we're really taking a hard look at this right now. We have a perfect opportunity to do this. So that's the short and the long. If you have any questions, I'll entertain them, and then Rich can fill in what we have.
My question, we've been talking about this for 2 years.
Yeah.
At least 2 years. Since I've been on council almost over a year and a half, and we've been
Right.
talking about these positions, and no, there's really been very little done to it. I know you said this isn't gonna be 6 months. When do you anticipate this would be back to before us?
Well, in the immediate short term, there is gonna be the conversation that we schedule the meeting to get somebody in to assist Rich on a short-term basis. You know, that has, you know, higher level experience for those projects that we have going. And then the development of, what the project manager, look, we've talked about deputy director, we've had it posted, we've had town engineer posted, we've gone to WPI, we've gone to other such. We're not getting people to come in to be engineers. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. It's not that we haven't tried to do that, we have the model, of what we were doing with the, town engineer. We're just, there's nobody out there that's applying for this job. And Dean and I had this conversation with Michelle earlier today about how do we market town or governmental positions to be beneficial to individuals that wanna come into the marketplace. Because I don't think we do a good enough job, like when we don't tell them that, you come work for a municipality, if you work here 30 years, you're gonna get a pension, you can pull into a smart plan, you have all that. We don't do a good enough job. I think the generation right now sees the short term, what's in my paycheck, they don't look at the long term. Like Dean's conversation today was, if you looked at what your pay, he goes, and this is not him, this is what it says, that if you looked at a person that worked in the town government for 30 years, say, and had a payout of, whatever it was on your, pension, you multiply that by 25, and that's what you would have needed to have in a 401k, right? So a person that, say their retirement is $100,000, they need $2.5 million in a 401k. That's a lot of money. We don't do a good job of recruiting when it comes to that. But, so your point is it's gonna be very quick. It's gonna be, those job descriptions have been in development with Rich. It's gonna be looking at, is this the right model that we want to take?
And I understand that aspect of it, but the engineer position, for instance, we've had multiple discussions about not being able to get the engineer, and we've hired an engineering company to help the DPW with those engineering projects, and we felt, at least there was discussion that might be the way to go, because for every project that we have engineers in that project. So we just need somebody to oversee the engineers, the job itself. And same with the deputy director. We talked about a second in charge for some time with when Disjardin left and Hardy left, and here we are again. I myself would like this thing to move fast track, so we do it, and we want to do it right.
That's it. You're absolutely right, and that's what I told the chairman. I know he has his hand up, and he might echo what I said.
Right.
But we had this conversation earlier tonight. I'm not gonna rush just to rush to make
Right,
sure
no,
it's
no.
right. You know what I mean? There's a lot of projects. $25 million is a lot of projects that you don't wanna screw up. You don't wanna screw up Chapter 90. You wanna find individuals that know Chapter 90, so that when we put those reimbursements in, we have $2.1 million worth of Chapter 90 reimbursements out there pending. You wanna make sure you have somebody that's qualified to do that, to make sure that oversight is correct. So that's why we're looking at those positions to say, what do we want in each individual position to make sure it's right, and that the model's right for the town. Is it gonna be perfect? Maybe not, but we're looking at this as the sooner than later.
Councilor Lazo?
Yeah, I've been in discussion with George and the chairman and town manager and the D.P.W director. I think the history lesson that you just laid out of where we were, where we are, and where you would like to go is absolutely in line here. I think what we have to keep in mind is the D.P.W director, Rich, will define what the position's gonna do, how they're gonna be dealt with at the job description level. They will come forward, and I think his plan on what he wants to do on the ground will dictate what the management shell will look like. I think what we have to do is, we experienced the revolving door unemployment. We had a mass exodus out of DPW management. This has been the most stable time at DPW in a long time. And I think that the reorganization, we're looking at reorganizations in the building department, we're looking at DPW. One of the things they wanted to do was bring in an engineer, give them the opportunity. Well, they were given the opportunity and doesn't seem to be any bites on it. So they go back to the drawing board, and we figure out that if somebody leaves, you don't want to leave a hole. That's what ended up happening. When one person leaves, there's nobody really there. So I think Rich recommending the deputy director is a great, I mean, nothing's forever. But if you can structure that management team to work and to process jobs right through the invoices, that's what we're looking for. And I think that, say if at some point Rich moves on, Rich wants to make sure that the deputy can walk into the position where they'll be upgraded and knowledgeable in the projects that we're working on, so we do not have any, how do I say, not so pleasant situations that we experienced at D.P.W prior to Rich, or even in some of the other departments, finance departments, building department. We've experienced this stuff. Right now, we have a very stable council, solid manager, everybody's in place. What we need to do is build the underlings under this leadership to carry the ball into the future. And I think this here, take your time, do it right, and make sure that it's good for the future years after this council's gone, Rich is gone, Jack moves on. The structure should drive the employment. I know that we reacted to some of the employment problems we had when Rich first got here, that I think more time in position, maybe he would have thought differently. So I think at this point here, I would like to see us take our time, but at the same time, we have a lot of projects ahead. I know the town manager's come up with a backup plan on a temporary basis, and I think the DPW director's solid on the direction that he wants to go in. And I'm with you. The talking's done. Let's get it done.
Tony?
Through you, the chairman, to either, whoever can answer this. Last time there was a temporary placement, from an outsider's perspective, using myself, it looked like a failed implement. So there was a time limit that was supposed to be there, and what's this temporary position gonna look like in your eyes? Is it gonna be a time limit thing, or is it gonna be a build-to position? Meaning, are you gonna hire somebody temporarily and expect them to step into the role of director? Or are you gonna hire somebody outside for, as you specifically stated, just to move a few projects along, and then he's out the door, and then you hire who you want? Like, what's the expectation from the outsiders, you looking in as interested candidates for these positions?
So,
Go ahead, Tom.
if I could, one, temporary position, I'm not sure which one you're talking about, the one that, the interim that we had that we ended up funding as a permanent position, and that person is leaving. So that was a specific type of position that we had tailored to assist in a higher level of paperwork and procurement and things like that. That was a great stepping stone to a project manager, right? That was while that individual is very talented on certain aspects and will be missed, there are now things that we believe that will build on that for the actual projects that will be out there. So it's a learning experience on my part too. Listen, I have a lot of experience in public safety, fire, police, EMS, I could talk that all day long. Department of Public Works, I have nothing. So I'm looking at it as a person that the people that we're talking about bringing in on a temporary basis are retired individuals that are just specific for as much time as we wish them to be, if we so choose to do that. If we have candidates out there and we get a job description that's very talented, maybe it changes, but it's, yeah, it's a model that we're building on.
Deputy Director?
I think the simpler answer to that is to better answer your question is that what the town manager is proposing is that we're gonna work with a company that has qualified individuals already that are experienced in Massachusetts procurement and, you know, things of those natures. We had looked into it in the past for a little bit of help, and it kinda got pushed off to the side because we were doing okay for a little while. This company has retired DPW directors and other retired state and local employees that have this knowledge and experience. So we're talking about hiring on this person a couple days a week to assist with those tasks, to handle all of the financial tracking for the projects and the pre-qual for the state for those, you know, that type of stuff, all the in-depth tracking and reporting and the financial stuff. that has, everything has a mass general law that you're required to do those steps.
And in the interim of that, what's the behind the scenes gonna look like as far as what you gentlemen are presenting as bringing these potential positions forward to a hiring process? Are we to expect what we're hearing tonight is, and yes, there may be potential some 1, 2 positions, what are we looking at? Cause there's,
We
I just
have
General.
an organizational chart that has been somewhat discussed tonight that has to be
Yep.
presented to, the subcommittee, then the
Correct.
council.
Yep.
There's still some discussion that needs to take place and some, details that have to be ironed out before that can happen, but that is currently the route that we're going. If that happens, there could be some additional positions that open up. And then, once they're approved and we, get the finite details on job descriptions and salary scale and so on, then those positions will be immediately posted. Once we have some support coming back to the department, then that interim position that's being discussed, which is gonna be held by a consultant, well, that will be done, and we will have our full-time staff taking over that role.
so in general, you're talking about more of hiring a consultant company, more than temporary positions?
Correct. Yep. Just for
Simple answer.
temporary.
Yeah, my apologies, that was the simple answers, yes, the consultant.
I think the approach is, there's an immediate problem.
Yeah, agreed.
Hannah was put in a position to cure this immediate problem. We all knew that there has to be a reorganization chart put together, which DPW director did. Town manager's working with him hand in hand, because he does all the reorganizations. On the short term, we're also looking at, Hannah just left, okay? All this paperwork, all these reports have to be done. Hey, can we grab somebody from a firm that can hit the ground automatically, knows how to file all these paperwork and get it done? We don't want to miss a step. As far as the reorganizational chart, I think once it's put in place and job description are built by the manager and the HR and Rich, then you'll have the hard copy of the tree of management, the flow chart, where you'll turn around and say, okay, this doesn't have a position, this does have a position, this is a person. We're working with people that are actually there. And then we have other openings where there are no people in it. And I think that's where we're going on the long-term plan. Short-term plan is to continue that DPW bond and all these projects to operate without a hiccup. And that's where I think both these gentlemen, and I'm in on it, but from the outside, I'm the government end of it, they're the management end of it. I think they're doing a great job with it. I think once it's done, it's gonna be paramount to the town of Southbridge, even after they're gone, and I'm gone.
I agree, I'm just looking for
Yeah.
information as a suspected participant. I'm
Yeah.
career-based, I'm not job hunting based,
No, it's-
hopping based per se. And, I need to make sure that my future would be, sustained as well, making a move, so. The more information I can get from you guys is gonna, derive whether
I'd say right at this point, it's incomplete
thank you.
for the long term, but on the short term, we're handling problems.
Right.
So when the time comes and job descriptions are put in and positions are advertised, at that point there,
Sure.
the head has to go before the tail. Thank you.
Just a point of disclosure, Corey is my son, and if there becomes an applicant for any town position in DPW, I would either step back, I will have to step back, and I will talk to Council Chair Basil about the future. I wholeheartedly believe that, we want the best candidates for the positions, but I also wholeheartedly believe that we don't wanna write a job descriptions that is unattainable either, as we had, for instance, the engineer. So I trust that you guys will take all that into consideration, what is best for the community, but what is also attainable.
The town engineer was specific for engineering. That's why
Right.
you write an engineer's position. You have to have a PE to be a town engineer.
Right.
I mean, that's, any town I look at that I review engineer positions for town engineers, that is a requirement. That is not unattainable. If we're gonna say we're gonna hire an engineer, you're gonna be an engineer. I don't care who it is, could be anybody in this room. I'm not hiring you if my job description, I'm hiring a town engineer, and the requirement says you're gonna have your PE. That's who we hired. That's what we were looking for. If that's not attainable because we don't have candidates for it, that's when you relook and you say, how do I wanna go about this business?
But, Mr. Chairman, I think this is out of order, this discussion between Corey and yourself. I think what we're looking at right now is a structure. And we experimented, we wanted to give Rich the ability to get an engineer. We went through that experiment and there are no bites on it. So we said, what would be the next best thing when it comes to on-the-job, eyes and ears and hands? Project manager, deputy director, all these other positions came into, and then all of a sudden there's a paperwork side to it, maybe an admin. Tonight was just to announce it. Right away, everybody's like, I'm applying for a job. There are no jobs, okay, straight up. The thing is, what we have to discuss is structure, job descriptions. What are these positions going to do?
Right.
This gentleman here has turned the DPW around 110%. The morale down there has never been better. Things are getting done, roads are being paved. We paved our own road with a borrowed paver as an experiment. Great job, by the way, Rich. I have a lot of confidence in this DPW director. I'd like to see him stay and have his fingerprint on this reorganization, because he's the only one that I've dealt with that actually understands what's going on the ground, in the project, and in the office. He walked into a mess, like a lot of different people in town go into a department, and it was a mess. We're at the crossroad of turning a lot of it around, making things right, finding where the money is, and you can see it tonight as you're moving the money around. Town manager and the DPW director are doing the job that should have been done probably prior. And I think we're working on this moving forward.
Yep.
Tonight was just an announcement that we are gonna be looking in a different direction than the engineer. We already tried the engineer, it didn't work. Thank you.
Anything? No?
I just wanna say, when I do hire people or look at jobs and what functions are gonna be, I'm not looking at personality, I'm looking at position.
Correct,
Everything's gonna be position-based, as long as I'm town manager.
correct.
I don't care who you are, it's gonna be position-based. We run an operation for DPW that's in the millions and water sewer that's in $8 million. I need quality people that are gonna be deputy directors and directors that have that expertise to run and manage those things. Because not having the right individuals to do it
His problem, too.
is a recipe for disaster.
Correct.
And I have, my responsibility is to the taxpayers and the ratepayers.
Anybody else? There has no vote on that, it's just for discussion. All right, anything else before the committee that anybody's interested in? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous.